Paris Hilton is the most iconic.
She has a wax figure, let's just say that. Nicole doesn't.
Nicole Richie has always been the girl that we want to be.
Nicole, her whole life, has had a more authentic vibe.
It was so offensive.
It wasn't offensive.
The Richie family just doesn't hold a candle nor the candlestick to the Hiltons.
That's why I said it was my opinion. Thanks.
Allegedly.
Hi, I'm Courtney Revolution, and I love talking about celebrities so much, which is why I sit here today.
Hey, I'm Jade Catapretta. I love a little pop culture moment. And, I really peaked in the early 2000s, so that's why I'm here today.
I'm Monica Lumba. I am a comedian, actress, whatever, and I'm more of a dog person than a cat person.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Sabo, and I love pop culture and comedy. And today I might be talking a little Southern because I got my pigtails and my trucker hat on.
Well, guys, welcome to Rivals, a head-to-head nostalgia fest where we battle against each other on topics from the early 2000s and the 90s, the best time in the world. We're going to go battle it out today to see who is the queen of the early 2000s. Today's episode is very exciting for me personally because I love both of these women. It is going to be Nicole Richie versus Paris Hilton. That's hot. Guys, it's very exciting. I'm passionate about both women, but we have to battle it out in teams. And so they are going to be taking on Nicole Richie. Alyssa and Monica are going to be Nicole Richie.
Yeah.
Courtney Revolution, Jade Catapretta, Paris Hilton, baby.
Period.
But before we dive in, we have to reveal who the winner was from our last episode, Pepsi versus Coke. It was an incredible episode. And you picked the winner, Coca-Cola, of course.
Boo.
That's fine.
That's
Hootie
fine.
who?
That's fine.
Not surprised.
They know what's right. They know what's classic.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
You probably were like watching a movie or on a plane where they only served Coke, and that's fine. And I understand that. Circumstances, everything.
Okay, I just have to go back to the early 2000s. I'm in my bedroom putting nail polish to my Nokia cover cell phone. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm happy to be alive. And I want to be just like Paris Hilton. So this episode means so much to me. Her whole life was in a magazine for us to watch.
Yes, ma'am.
Before there was
yeah.
social media, there was Paris Hilton.
She was the original influencer.
Absolutely.
Yes, she was. And
Big
before we
girl.
get too far into the episode, we do want to have a little disclaimer, which is that both of these women are absolutely iconic. Like, original influencer created such a intense ripple across pop culture, and we do have to pit them against each other because that is the format of the show, and it is very fun to play debate class. But we love both of these women so much, and we're not the media. We're not pitting them against each other in a negative way. We're just having fun and being nostalgic about what these women were to us in the 90s and 2000s.
We're breaking it down and we're breaking it out.
Guys, they have a new show that just came out called Encore, celebrating 20 years of The Simple Life being out. It's on Peacock, and it's just kind of like highlighting the best moments of the simple life, which we'll get to. And also, they're making their famous song, Sana Sa, into an opera, which is very on brand.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. I feel like they're both so different now, too. Like, whatever, we're going to scroll back and like talk about their friendship and all that stuff. But like Nicole Richie, who she is today and like her entire career is like pretty iconic, similarly to Paris.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they were friends. Literally since birth, they were best friends.
Since they were 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, honestly, when I think about them, that's why this episode is going to be kind of interesting because we're battling between them versus each other, but they are such a duo to me, and their friendship means everything to me. And I'm so glad that we're going to be able to like go back and talk about this in a way that's like with the new, like where we know they are right now, which is best friends again, which is amazing. And it's gonna be really interesting. And they talk about this, like how the media really did kind of like tear them apart, but the fact that they're back together is like all that matters. And I'm just thinking about that because friendship means a lot to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful. And I think it's so fun that they can make fun of themselves. Like they realize that they've become sort of these like personalities, and they can like, it's all a joke. It's like nothing's too serious.
Well, and they are so like, they are the perfect definition of like, they make each other funnier and better. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why it's hard to, it's like, we're going to be like separating them and talking about them individually, but like as a unit, they're just, it's like an Oreo cookie.
What part is better?
How so?
You need both. You need the cream and the cookie. You need it all. For it to
Sometimes
be
I just
so
need the
good.
cream. Sometimes I just
Not
lick the cream
me.
right up.
Can I say something
Anyway,
controversial?
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm in my trucker hat era.
I just want to say this. I know that we're not pitting Paris Hilton and Nicole against each other, obviously, because they're iconic, they're queens. Shout out to women. I love feminism. But I was a huge Paris Hilton fan. And honestly, I didn't really see it as much for Nicole Richie ever, even still present day. And I don't mean that as like, I've disliked Nicole Richie or anything that she's done in her career. However, if we're sitting here and we're like picking sides, and when I think back to like my childhood, like middle school, like I wasn't going to the mall to buy a Nicole Richie fragrance. I was going on Amazon, eBay, what have you, and buying a Paris Hilton air cologne and wearing it all 4 years of high school. Like when I think of like impact, and you know I love to bring up impact, there's just like no contest when it comes to like the impact that Paris Hilton has made on pop culture and the impact that Nicole Richie has made on pop culture. Yes, they are a team. Yes, they are a duo. Simple Life, iconic, chef's kiss. However, the queen of my heart, shout out to Taylor Swift, is Paris Hilton. Period.
Okay, I hear that, and I appreciate that T Swift reference, and I'm holding space for you.
Thank you.
But ultimately, I think that when I was watching The Simple Life, I like didn't really know that they were like best friends, grew up together. I just thought they were like two like we didn't know, right?
Yeah.
Same with like Laguna Beach. We actually have an episode about Kristen Cavallari and Lauren Conrad. So if you love that, you should go check it out. It was a very fun one. But I didn't know like what was real, what was fake. I didn't know they were best friends. I thought maybe they were cast or the real people. I didn't know. No, I feel like I always related to Nicole Richie more because of her style. She was always like like Paris is like kind of the sweeter one, and Nicole Richie just like says stuff. And she was just like, she says stuff off the cuff, and she says stuff that's real, and she says stuff that I wouldn't expect from these like random party girls. Like Paris has a little bit, I can expect maybe what she's gonna say, and she has a little bit more of like a consistent brand. Whereas Nicole, I was like, you're real, you're crazy, you're hilarious, and I relate to you.
I have it to give it to you. I definitely relate. Yeah,
No
I definitely
filter.
like Nicole Richie is the friend that will like convince you to get a belly button piercing.
Yes.
And you're like, you're so fun. If you're sitting at home and you're thinking, like I have something to say, like which one do you relate to the most? Is there something specific from your childhood that makes you relate to one of them or the other? Let us know in the comments because you're our heartbeat. You're our everything. We love you.
Period.
But yeah, she's like the crazier. But you know what? Paris is consistent. And I love that. I love a loyal, consistent friend that will let
Yes,
you
ma'am.
borrow their 90s wardrobe, which she did have a better wardrobe in the 90s. Just saying.
Well,
no,
actually-
we're not getting into it yet, but
They were on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and they had a funny moment where they were like, who has the better fashion? Who has the whatever?
Yeah.
And they were having fun going back and forth, being like, okay, your fashion was terrible. You dated
And they did
crazy
say,
men.
and Paris, they did say, Paris like, well, I had more of the Y2K fashion.
I agree.
And so that's fine.
I mean, you were wearing a trucker hat, like
Yeah.
a Von Dutch style trucker hat, which was kind of Paris's thing. Like,
Well, it was
Nicole didn't
Nicole's
really-
thing too. I mean, look,
Not as
for me,
much.
They
the
shared a
simple
lot.
life,
Yeah.
the simple
Yeah.
life meant a lot to me because they were going the places they were going was like my hometown. They were coming to my hometown,
Yeah.
and I think that I was like watching them interact with people that were like my family, like they were,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean, and they were staying in like homes that I grew up in, and I was like, oh wow. And I don't know, but like, and there was something about it that was amazing because it was never offensive. Like it was just that you could tell that they like loved these people that they were talking to. I didn't think it was offensive.
It was so offensive. They like,
It wasn't
there was an
offensive.
episode where they're on the table in Arkansas and they're like, oh, how do you guys live here? I would die.
But what I'm saying is like because of their like comedy, like honestly, I know they're not necessarily like actresses and like comedians, but
Yeah.
it's like next level comedy.
No, they
I
know.
was
That's
gonna
what I'm
say,
saying.
they
They
were-
know
That's
how to
why
play a
they
They
fair
were
character.
It was
experts at committing
charming.
to the bit.
And
Yes.
it was, yes. And
Yeah.
so it's like, in a way, they also were a big comedy influence on me. Like, even though they weren't necessarily like on Saturday Night Live, like as cast members,
Well, thank
but
God.
they just like, they had this like incredible timing that you can't teach somebody to be that charming and
I agree.
funny.
I agree.
And so I don't know, but that show meant a lot to me. And yeah, it wasn't offensive to me as somebody who was kind of white trash.
Wait, also, did you know that when they were casting that show,
Yeah.
they literally knew nothing about it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like these Fox executives like came up with the idea. They knew nothing about it. They had they started filming at a going away party. They were taken on a jet. They had no idea where they were going or what they were doing. They were just
love
like,
it.
And I
we're
love-
taking away your phone. We're taking
There
away
was
your
no
credit
reality
card.
TV.
I know, and
And they
I love-
landed in Arkansas.
I
Yeah.
love
That's
to. I have to
beautiful.
shout out Paris because she brought Nicole onto it because initially they wanted it to be Paris and
her
Nikki
sister.
Hilton, and Nikki Hilton was like, no thanks. And Paris like
That would've been a snore
recommended
fest.
Nicole, which is like
Yeah.
that like loyalty. I love that, and that's like what I'm like trying to do with my life. Like I want to bring my friends up with me, and like. And so the fact that Paris was doing that, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. They just, so that's why I'm so glad that they're friends again. And I know that you're saying Paris stands alone.
That's just
I don't
I'm
know,
just
for
saying for
me,
the
I didn't
purposes
say
of
that.
our job.
For
That's
me,
the girl
yeah.
I related
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of parts and a lot of points we need to make,
Yes.
but let's start in the beginning, you guys. They were childhood friends. So they're living in a nice neighborhood in LA. They're living next to each other, like basically next door to each other. They had megaphones and they would talk to each other like from balcony to balcony. Like, do you have any friends
Rich
like from
people.
childhood? Yeah,
Rich
like
people.
I moved from Brazil. I don't even know half of the people I grew up with, like even in Virginia. So the fact that they remain friends, like I don't
Oh,
even
you
have
don't
friends
have
at
any
all.
childhood friends?
Very like I have like 2.
But I feel like that's the quality.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know too many people that have like 8 childhood
But like, am
friends
I on a
that they're
reality
still so
show
close
with one of my best friends? Like,
No,
No.
you're not.
No, you're not.
and also they had very similar circumstances,
Yeah.
right? Very
yeah, so
wealthy parents.
they were able to relate to one
Yeah.
another
Mm-hmm.
because, and even they would go on these like extravagant trips together with their families, and then they would be off doing whatever they wanted to do together. But I feel like their friendship, especially them knowing each other since they were 3 years old and then doing this, it's just like that's the kind of chemistry you can't manufacture.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and both their parents were really strict. So I
Yeah.
think that very early on they became like good at entertaining each other and entertaining their friends because they weren't like allowed to go out in the beginning. Like they were not allowed to have
Rightfully
sleepovers
so.
unless it was to each other's house.
I know that part is so
That's so
crazy.
crazy.
And they were like, they were talking about whose house was like easier to sneak out of.
Yeah.
And Nicole Richie was like, well, my house had literal security. I'm like, oh my God,
Jesus.
it's unrelatable to try and sneak out of a
Yeah.
house with security.
Yeah.
And then I think she was like good though, because she had with like when her parents got divorced, she was able to kind of just be like, "Well, I met my mom," like saying to her dad, "I met my
Oh,
mom."
sure,
and I
sure.
met my-" and
Did
then,
you guys
like,
do that? Like when because I would do that all the time. I'm like, I'm at Kitty's house, and then my friend Kitty would be like, I'm at Jade's house, and we'd sneak out.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
I
that was, like, the
literally,
way.
I played water polo in high school and we would have really early morning practices.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm like sleeping over at this person's house.
And where were
No,
you?
I was at my boyfriend's house.
Oh, I was in the
Really?
middle of the woods
Yeah.
drinking. That's what I was
My
doing.
black
I
ass
didn't
was
have-
at home in them goddamn books. Yeah. Sneaking out. Who has time for that? Look who the beach is on.
I will say one
Yeah.
time I tried to like sneak out, and then but my parents were never around and nobody noticed.
Your dad's at the store buying
I
Coke
was like,
Zero,
did anybody
Pepsi
know?
Zero.
I was driving with my friend and like nobody cared. Yeah, my dad at the
Yeah,
store buying
buying
Pepsi, Pepsi Clear.
My best friend Kitty had a like Pepto Bismol pink Cadillac that we would like sleep in. And it was so bad because like people would see it driving around. It was like the least.
They would know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It was so cool, but I remember like because we didn't have social media at the time, magazines was like our only glimpse
Yes.
into their lives. And like the parties she would have, like we were there for all of it. Like she really grew up in front of the media. And also Paris Hilton was already modeling and doing like a little bit of TV work very early on before The Simple Life.
Because obviously Hilton, huge family,
Huge.
rich.
Yeah.
Tons of, I've stayed at a Hilton. Shout out to the
And it's
Hilton.
nice.
Yeah. Also, can you imagine Kathy Hilton being your mom?
No.
Like that would be so
I cannot
wild.
actually.
I mean, when I was a kid and like Paris and Nicole were always in the tabloids and I didn't really like know much about them. Now, obviously, we have all this like information about them, but like I remember just being like, oh, look at these party girls that inherited all this money. And what are they even famous for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember, and that's what people like would
Yeah.
say about them. Like, well, they just don't even have any talent. They're just rich and famous
Yeah.
for no good reason.
So let me ask y'all this.
Yeah.
Are Paris and Nicole the first like celebrities y'all remember being famous for being famous?
Yeah, I
Same.
think so.
Yeah.
And like being kind of like Nepo babies.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yeah, I mean,
just-
yeah, Kim
yeah.
Kardashian was Paris Hilton's closet organizer.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were
Yeah.
famous
Yeah.
for being
Friends.
famous, which
Yeah.
like, of course we were all hating on it, but like we just
Well,
wanted
we
to
all
be
wanted
them.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
wanted
Are
to be
you
them.
kidding me?
I mean, some people would hate on it, but like it's like you want to be them.
Like no taste.
Yeah, well, they showed us what was cool at the time. Also, they talked about this in the interview. I don't know if you heard, but they were like, it was before social media and all this media in front of them. They would go to these clubs with animals. Like,
yeah.
like Nicole Richie had a little snake that she would wear around her neck.
Yeah.
And Paris
Absolutely
just
not.
had baby bunnies.
Sorry, not a python.
Yeah.
She
It
was
was a
like in the
python.
club
It
with
was
a python.
And then also Paris Hilton Shout out to Chihuahua lovers. She always she made having a little tiny
She
Chihuahua a
did.
thing.
But the pink and the, just owning it. And
Yeah.
also we now know that she kind of does a voice,
Right.
I loved that.
which is amazing.
yeah.
At the time, it's like we don't even realize what she's doing. Like, she's kind of a mastermind.
She's a
She is a
genius.
mastermind.
She created
Yeah.
a brand
She
at a
created a
time when no
personality.
one was creating a brand like that. It is pretty crazy. I
Yeah.
saw her documentary. I'm sure we'll get into it a lot more. Paris Hilton's, where we just get a view behind the curtain of like literally how crafted it is sometimes. And even on the Call Her Daddy podcast, you can see in the beginning she's like very much a brand, and then she's like, when she gets more comfortable,
Then she starts to be
she
herself.
starts to really be herself, and
Yeah.
she's like awesome. And the other thing that I remember from like the tabloids, like back in the day, I remember my mom was like, don't watch that stuff, like don't read that stuff, like whatever. And in my head, I was like, they're always like having so much fun, and it probably was psychotic to grow up in that time with like the paparazzi and all that thing. But they were like having fun. They like had Healy things on the
Yeah,
dance
they're, like,
floor. They like
going
had
out, yeah.
places that they went. Like they had so much fun with this cloud.
So jealous.
Yeah.
I just
It
want to go
was-
back to the 90s.
They
and party
really,
with
but
them.
also even like when I think about that amazing, it's like Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and Paris Hilton.
that photo of them in the car.
The photo of
Oh
them
my
in the
God.
car. Like you cannot think about Y2K. Like that picture to me is like if you're, you know what I mean? You close your eyes, think of Y2K.
Yeah.
It's that picture. It's
Yeah.
Paris, Lindsay, and Britney like at the club. I don't know what they were doing, but I will say I was always a little worried for them.
Yeah, as a Christian,
Like, as a young Christian
let's talk about that.
Girl from Pennsylvania, I was worried. I was like, oh, they need to, they need to
Whoa.
relax and not be clubbing
That's
so
so
much.
mature of you
Not
to think
me.
that. Like, we were so
remember
young.
being
Like, you know what I
worried.
mean?
I was like,
I was like, I
okay.
want to party with them so
Yeah, I was like, I
bad.
wanna be with them.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to be in LA.
I
and
was
like,
worried.
and then I moved to LA, like in 2008, I moved to LA. And then my best friend Paris also moved to LA. And then she started dating Paris Hilton. I get a
Shut
phone call.
up.
She goes, "You're not going to believe whose hotel room I'm in."
Are you like allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, it's on. There's pictures of them online
Oh,
together.
really?
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like a
gonna say,
public
I was
thing,
like,
yeah.
there
It was a
wasn't an
quick. It
NDA.
was a quick affair, like a few months. And whenever they would go
Wow.
out, Paris would wear her black wig. She had a little black wig that she would put on.
Wow.
And so whenever we went out with them, we weren't allowed to sit in the table with them. So we'd sit on this, the side table and be like, "How's it going over there?" And they're like, "Good."
Oh,
But yeah, they had a
wow.
little moment.
Wait, why couldn't you sit with them?
Because they had like a very tiny little table with just like, celebrities.
I
And
have
my
a-
friend Paris.
okay,
I
Mean
have a
Girls.
question
Yeah.
sidebar, just in case there are people that haven't seen The Simple Life. What was The Simple Life exactly, and why did it work so well with Paris and Nicole? Because realistically, it could have been anyone. It could have been Venus and Serena, honestly, but it was Paris and Nicole. Why did it work so well?
I feel like it worked so well because this was a time where we were like now getting to see this isn't like a sitcom, right? We're now getting to see real people out in the wild partying, like the difference between the rich and the not. And I feel like because Paris and Nicole were like so this obviously The Simple Life shot them into a different stardom.
It was,
But
a,
set it
it was
up
a
as to
real,
what
it
it
was a
is.
real
sorry.
life
Yeah.
Green Acres. And Green
Yeah.
Acres was a sitcom, an old sitcom about like these like people from
Rich Beverly Hills
Arkansas.
girls, yeah.
And they inherit
opposite.
money. So they inherit money or whatever, and then they move to Beverly Hills. And it was kind of the opposite. So right, it was like switched. It was like, and then we have like rich Beverly Hills people go to Arkansas and go, and they knew like, okay, it's a fish out of water classic, and it was like the people that brought you the real world, and they're like, all right, let's do this, and there was something so real about it that I don't know if you could.
I think
because
you couldn't shoot a
Like-
show like
you
that.
can't shoot
ever
a
The
show
thought
like that.
of,
Yes,
like,
because
Yeah.
because of social media now. Yeah.
Like the thought of like two rich snobby girls doing jobs that you and I have would be the hook. Right?
Yeah.
And that was like interesting.
Yeah.
And it's
to
like,
us.
let's see these spoiled girls that have all this money try to work at McDonald's or Walmart. And they said, oh, Walmart, what do they sell? Walls?
Yeah, they
and
didn't even know what that
they
was.
just had the most classic one-liners and just seeing these rich girls interact with like I said, my family like, was so funny.
It was so funny
I
because
agree.
also they had, like Paris was a little more reserved, but Nicole
That's why I always
did
related
not
to Nicole
care.
a
Yeah.
little more because
She was making out with all the dudes.
She was a little more just
She kind
kind
of
of-
started the whole way of being like bitch, like as like a friendly thing to girlfriends.
yeah.
Like think about that.
Yeah.
We never use the word bitch in a positive way. Like I would say Nicole kind of coined that.
Totally.
The same way
Yeah.
that Paris eventually coined and now copyright. Like she copywrote That's Hot.
Yeah.
owns
Rightfully
it.
so.
So like whenever
Yeah.
somebody says it anywhere, she makes money.
What?
That's so crazy.
So
Yeah.
even us saying it, she's gonna make money.
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. She needs the extra dollars.
I also feel like there are so many like built-in bits and like pranks, like, and they're like even just watching them in interviews, like they play with each other. They push off each other. They like
Yeah.
set each other up, and you see that in such a physical way. Like there was that one episode where she was like in trouble, and Nicole pretended she was crying, put water on her eyes, and they were like, "Okay, you have to like go back to the store." And she was like, "I'm so sad, my cat died."
Yeah.
And like it's just and he like knew, and he was like, "Okay, I'm sorry. We like still have to go back. You
Yeah.
like messed up the store." And she just has like all this, and he's like, "Where's Paris?" And she's like, "I don't know." And Paris is in the other room being like, and like they had all these like built-in bits, just like pranking these normal people in Arkansas. It was
I
so
loved
funny.
it. Yeah, I think the most epic moment was when Nicole Richie put her entire arm into the cow.
Oh my god!
And then Paris like wouldn't do it, so she chased her around with her like with all this on her hand. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, like nowhere else you cannot make reality TV like that. They also got in trouble a lot. Like they took a cop car.
Oh yeah.
They talked about it in Encore where like they were like, why did you do that? Did you not just think that you wouldn't get in trouble? And she's like, yeah, we felt so protected by the producers that we like thought everything was a joke.
Yeah.
Like when it was real life, you know?
And the other thing, it's like funny the way that Nicole, and even in the Call Her Daddy interview, she talked about how, because they were like, oh, whenever you said that you only like guys that look like they're dying, skinny guys, and they're like, is that true? And she was like, no, but I knew that would be a funny thing to say. Like I relate to that so much. And sometimes I say stuff on here that
Yeah.
I don't really believe, or I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
No, thank you for saying
but
that.
also
Thank you for saying that though, because
You're
I think a
welcome.
lot of people are wondering.
And then,
about
No,
that.
she really likes him. She actually likes him.
Nicole is such a, I do like him.
Yeah.
But Nicole is such a trendsetter that like she said, oh, I like guys when they're like sickly and look like they're dying. Like then that became cool.
Look at Pete Davidson.
Like that's what I'm saying. That's what's so amazing
What is
about
it?
Nicole
Ugly
Richie.
Rat?
I would do
Yeah.
anything that she told me to do. I would like whatever she told me to like because the way she has such confidence and pizzazz with whatever she says. So I think that's kind of interesting that like then like sickly, tall, rat-like guys became popular shortly after Nicole Richie
Well,
said
a few
that.
years, 20 years later. But
Yeah,
it caught
the
on.
impact. She still has an impact on us.
As we go through these traits of Paris and Nicole, I'm wondering, are you more of a Nicole? Are you free, unfiltered, ready to say whatever's on your mind? Or are you more of a Paris? Are you going to think things through? Are you going to put on a baby voice? Are you smarter than the average bear? Let us know in the comments right now.
I love the baby voice. I saw her. She was one of the performers for the MTV Movie Awards, or I don't know, some MTV award. And she was coming out and she was like, hey. And then she was like, no, cut. Had a
Damn right.
completely different voice. Was like, this camera's going to go here, this camera. And then she did it again. And I was like, I was already a fan, but seeing her, the way she like manipulated everything and was just such a boss, I was like, love her so much.
Me too. I want to talk about why they stopped being friends.
Oh,
yeah.
drama.
Courtney wants the drama right
Scandaloso.
now.
Because there was some drama going on, and
Courtney,
Paris and Nicole
I'd
fell
rather-
out, and it was a big old mess.
I'd
That's all they talked about.
rather not talk about it at all. I like to forget that this period exists.
Me too.
Before we get into the friendship beef, we just want to say that everything we're saying is literal hearsay because they have never come out and actually talked about the points of what broke up their iconic best friendship. So these are just, we don't know, it's the media, but we're playing with what we know and what we've researched.
The town gossip.
Town gossip.
Yeah, and Nicole and Paris, if you're watching this, let us know what really happened. Comment below.
Spoiler
Okay,
alert.
okay.
What was
wait,
the
wait.
beef?
There was some negative stuff though that happened. First of all, Paris had a sex tape that was leaked,
Paris
That happens
did
first.
have a sex tape
Yeah.
that was leaked,
which was like
unfortunately.
traumatic for her. It wasn't like trying to do this kind of like.
It wasn't back then. Sex tapes weren't as well received as they are today. Much with like sex work in general is
Yeah.
more well received today. So like if you had a sex tape that came out back in the 2000s, it was like, oh my god, whore.
Yeah.
And that's what people were saying about Paris
They
Hilton,
were already
unfortunately.
saying that about her, that she's like out every night. But then I've read interviews and even in her documentary, she was like, I was never really like hooking up with guys. Like she was just like, I was just out and about. Like I love music. She seems like one of those people. Like she's okay in any.
I mean, she's a
situation.
DJ now. She really does
Number
love
one
music.
DJ in the world.
Yeah.
Number one.
She's
Wait,
a great DJ.
is that
She's so
true?
fun.
Number one
Yeah,
DJ
number
in
one
the
DJ in the
world.
world. Icon. Legend.
But the other the other
like,
alleged claim of the beef,
Yeah.
which I actually relate to this I really relate to this. And I don't know if this is true, but I guess Paris was like hosting SNL and then she didn't invite Nicole to the filming, and Nicole like took that as a major snub, which like I would be so offended if Monica didn't invite me.
It's SNL's fault. SNL's talk.
That's
be
like,
toxic,
but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I relate to that whenever you like don't get invited to something where you think this is like your best friend, and then it's like to not get invited. And I don't know if that's like really what happened, but I would be like so hurt by that. And then it's like everybody was sort of, the media was saying like Nicole was just sort of the sidekick or whatever, and not as like popular. And that's, of course that's gonna mess with people.
So that means that you screen your best friend's sex tape?
But then the alleged
Monica
response.
wants to talk to me
Can
for
I
a
talk
second.
to you for a second?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
I would invite you. Okay.
But
And
only
even
because I just said this, or because you wanted
before,
to?
and even if the media tried to print slander, don't believe it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank
you for
Your party
inviting
was
me.
so fun last night.
I'm screaming.
So, but the alleged response was that then Nicole Richie has a party for some friends and then screens Paris' sex tape, which is like a very sensitive, embarrassing thing. Can you imagine? That's a
my
snub.
God.
That don't sound like the color of friendship to me.
Well, did she really do that?
Damn right.
We don't know.
Allegedly.
We don't know.
So I don't think
Allegedly.
she did that. But if she did, we've all made mistakes.
I don't remember the drama. I don't remember the drama between them at all. I just remember like Simple Life, Paris's outfits in the night, like her
I
little
very
dresses.
vividly remember this, and the reason why is
Yeah.
because this happened right after the third season, the best season of The Simple Life. So like they did like the intern season where they stopped at Lehigh Valley Airport. Shout out to Lehigh Valley, which is in PA.
A very
And-
small
Very
airport.
random.
Yes, and then so they fell out. It was
Yeah.
all in the media. It was on National Enquirer, People, what have you, 17 magazine, and then they came back and did another season of The Simple Life, but this time it was separate. They were playing like wives to all these different scenarios.
Again, would never happen now.
Would never happen.
Never
now.
happen.
We're used to seeing them together because they are a package deal. Very much Mary Kate and Ashley. Very much Mary Kate and Ashley and Tia and Tamara, whatever. This time it's like two split storylines. So like we would see Nicole with the family and then Paris with the family. And at the end of the season, then it's like a big drawn up, like they've run into each other and let's talk it out before like this cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm assuming they worked it out after that because then we got more
They
seasons.
worked it out on the remix.
Yeah.
Wait, but then didn't also Paris wanted to like recast? And I feel like
She
I
did.
remember of that
I do
time
remember
being
that.
like, oh yeah, Nicole wants to leave because she doesn't want to be a party girl anymore. She doesn't want this party. I
Well, she
remember
did
thinking
have
that
a
and being
thing.
like, oh, I'm like her. Like I would also
Yeah.
want to like outgrow this scenario.
She seemed like she was kind of like.
But maybe
you
the
know,
media did that, or like that was her like PR angle with and hurt from Paris wanting to recast her
But
or
she
whatever.
did
We
have
don't
that
know.
moment as well. She's been very vocal about this. Allegedly, she was like having some issues with drugs, like earlier on during the Simple Life, and then she even admitted that she like got into was it
Like
called?
chewing tobacco,
Chewing
like
tobacco, yeah. But I think
Uh-oh.
she was in
we've
a little
all been
heavier.
there.
Shout out to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Big
Is that a
dip
Wisconsin
cap-
thing? I thought it was
That's
cheese.
in
Big
middle
Virginia thing.
America.
Dip. Yeah,
Big
middle
Virginia
America.
thing.
It's a big middle
Whoa.
America
Honestly,
thing.
Chew is, well, it's making a comeback. I
Here's
met a
what-
guy recently who was dipping.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say to you: if you're
See,
dipping,
Nicole Richie, it's all your fault.
if you're dipping, stop it. But if you are dipping, don't swallow it.
Quit the dip.
Number one, do not
Okay,
know
swallow.
so
what?
Paris and Nicole at this point in our journey are not friends, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Nicole didn't get to go to SNL, lame. So then she decides to screen Paris Hilton's sex
Well, also,
tape.
she didn't get to go to SNL, which is where she could have potentially met a skinny, sickly looking man.
she met the right one.
I know,
She's
I
still
know.
with
I'm
her
just
guy.
saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that's where they flock to.
The writers, yeah, they're there.
Paris is thinking about trying to recast Nicole Richie, which we know ultimately does not happen. Whose side are you on after the discussion?
Wait,
All of
time
it.
out. Just a side note.
Yeah.
Kimberly Stewart and Paris Hilton did have a really funny moment on the red carpet where they were on those go-karts.
Oh, I remember
So I do have to
this.
shout out Kimberly Stewart for that moment. I think about it almost every other day.
That is cool.
They literally were like, do you know what I'm talking about? Those
I do.
go-karts?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yes.
and they're like, I don't think they're wearing underwear. Another amazing thing
So
to do.
fun.
Going
Yeah.
commando.
By the way,
Not
that was
let
a
it
new
breathe.
thing for me. Like when they were like, and we're not wearing underwear. I'm like, wait a minute, you cannot wear underwear? Like
Yeah.
that was not
Yeah.
even a thing to me.
Anyway, sorry, keep
Anyways.
going. I
No,
just
you're
thought
fine.
that.
I just wanted to ask the audience, after hearing what has happened allegedly in the breakdown of Paris and Nicole's friendship, whose side are you on at this point? For me, I am on Paris Hilton's side because I feel like not inviting my friend to SNL does not warrant you showing my vagina, allegedly, to friends.
Yeah,
If
I'm
she
team
did
Paris.
Without her
Paris.
consent.
Yeah, I'm
Allegedly.
sure. You know why? Because also like going to SNL, they're very weird about you bringing people and who you invite. It's like a whole thing. Like, so it might have been out of her control. She's already nervous. She's hosting. It's a big deal. Like
A media thing.
yeah, it's a media thing. Like,
Because back then we were definitely seeing them on magazines going back and forth. Paris said this, Nicole said this.
Ugh, what a
Is it true?
crazy time to be like. I do remember those. Like, I mean, what's the really crazy magazine now? Okay, sometimes I see
Okay Magazine.
Okay
and Us
Magazine.
Sometimes I
Weekly.
see OK Magazine in like a Safeway or Vons, and I see the title, and I'm like, huh?
Oh, like the
Yeah,
headline?
they're so
they're
crazy.
so
They're like, it's literally someone went into Chat GBT and was like, what is the craziest thing I can say about Martha Stewart?
And
they're
that's
like,
going to be the title
they're
of
like,
this.
Martha
Oh,
Stewart with
Lordy.
no pants on left a bathroom after pulling them up, getting back in the car. You're like, what the frick? And it's
Yeah.
just like a picture of her in a bathroom.
It's also
I
hard
used to
though because
read
they were
those.
always
Like-
saying that there was aliens, and now we know aliens exist. So
Allegedly.
Ew, aliens exist. No, that's been true and proven.
No, it's true.
Aliens are real, and they told George Washington about how to do the Revolutionary War.
They talk about that on High in the Sky or something?
Okay.
What?
Now-
I thought this was Rivals.
wait,
So, anyways, they're saying aliens are in the tabloids. So I started to be like, wait, are the tabloids true? It's hard to know what was true.
It's hard to.
and what
Yeah.
That's what Alyssa's trying
That's
to say.
what
She's
she's
saying
saying.
it's hard to know what's true or what's not. And aliens specifically for her, it was important to know that they are true. And if you go to New Mexico, you'll find them. Look, we only have the bullet points of what happened. There's no way to know, but I think that potentially there was like something bigger happening where maybe Paris was interested in like stepping into the limelight in a bigger way. And I think that maybe is indicative of what was happening. And like Nicole felt that. And so all we know is SNL, but I'm sure there's like a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I just felt like as Paris, someone who is like creating a brand, very intentional about what she does, where she shows up, whereas Nicole like says whatever the frick she wants. So I feel like I would be more a Nicole in that situation. Do you know what I
I
mean?
have
Like,
to, as someone who's famously
Even with the
not,
tape?
not been invited to a lot of
well,
things.
I just don't know if it's true. I don't. It's really hard
yeah,
to judge.
we don't know
We
if
don't know
that's
if
true.
it's true.
So, but I'm gonna take Nicole's side. I'm going for the underdog, the girl who didn't get invited. You know, and
yeah.
you know, and
If you haven't been
yeah.
invited to a party, you know what that's like. You're at home.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. One time, somebody who I knew very well, close friends, called me to tell me that I wasn't invited to her wedding.
That's so rude.
And did you make her sex tape?
What?
Did you screen her sex tape after?
If she had a sex tape, I would have.
Damn
No,
right.
you wouldn't
Yes, I
have.
would
You're
have.
gonna get canceled.
I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't have done that. But it's hard, to not get invited to something.
Yeah, it sucks not being
Yeah.
included.
Kind of
Damn,
a big,
Alicia-
and you know
Alicia
what?
called
And Jade, I know that you said no, but that was
Like, you
crazy.
ain't coming.
No, but that's crazy. And Jade, I know that you said, oh, they're really strict over us. No, they aren't.
Yes, they are.
No,
They're very
I've
strict.
everybody's going there. I got invited.
Did you go?
Everybody's going
No,
there.
I wasn't available. I was busy.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's get into the most iconic lines. This
do it.
part is really tough for me because they are both two psychotic queens, and
Yeah.
the amount of one-liners they had in The Simple Life, and honestly, throughout their lives, is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of your favorites from Paris?
I love from Paris, obviously.
That's hot.
That's hot.
That's hot.
But I actually like a Nicole one. I'm gonna
yeah,
come
let's
in with
hear
a
it.
Nicole one. When they were at Sonic and they'd be like, "What's your order, bitch?" It was so funny to me that she would just like be talking to these old men, like, "Hey, bitch."
Yeah, it's
Like just like calling a man a bitch is just so fun to
hey
me.
bitch, but she always said
Yeah.
it in such a like friendly way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like hey bitch.
Hey bitch.
Another one of my favorites is when I think they get pulled over like in a cop car,
Yeah.
and Nicole goes, "Who'd I have to fuck to get out of this ticket?"
Yeah.
Literally
So
a
funny.
queen who has no fear to talk to the cops like that.
Yeah, as
Oh
someone
my
who was
God.
very promiscuous in their young life, I loved that she was just like so open about her sexuality.
I have an iconic
Love it.
moment and not a specific line. There's an episode where Paris and Nicole are like trying to go somewhere and they stop at like Burger King and they order a whole bunch of food, sandwiches, everything. They stand at the register and they eat all of the food. and then the manager's like, "Oh, your total is blah, blah, blah." And then they like, "We don't have money. Can you just give it to us?" So ballsy. I could never.
Meanwhile, they're holding like a Chanel purse. It's like
Yeah.
$20,000.
And this is like
I also-
seasons in. So like
Yeah.
they know that they have money.
And I know that Paris was like, whenever they were like, they revealed that they had never been to a laundromat, and Paris being like, I've seen it in the movie. Which, you know, as a movie lover myself, I have to give her credit.
I love when celebrities do that. Like on the Kardashians one day, she's like, Mom, could we one day like go grocery shopping like all those peasants?
Like they do in the
Oh my
movie.
God.
But also Paris just saying, remember Josh Hartnett. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I love when
That's
because
funny.
she made having like a little doggy iconic. We already talked about this, but every time she'd be like, do you have this for a dog? Like she always would ask, like, do you have this for a puppy size?
It's so,
So
good.
good.
One last one for Nicole was I think they were stewardess in one episode.
That's season 3 interns.
yeah.
yes, yeah.
Season 3
I
intern.
have it on DVD.
And she's like, "Do you want to lap dance?" Like I just feel like like obviously they're not feeding her lines like they did in like Laguna Beach. Like you can
No.
tell the comedy is just like
Yeah, I agree.
within them, like the pauses.
She had
the,
no
And
like,
the thing
filter.
too, the thing about Nicole that I'm like obsessed with is just zero shame.
Yeah.
She owned everything she said. And like if I were to do something like that, of course I would be like probably laughing at myself, like, haha. But she was just like, do you want a lap dance, dear? And just like owned it.
Yeah.
Committed.
I
Not
still
breaking the
use-
fourth wall.
Yeah.
One of her lines is like, every time I go on a date, I still use it. I mean, I'm in love now, but not in a relationship. Shout out to Chantel. But
oh my god!
the,
Shout out Sean.
I would always say, should we kiss? And that's a Nicole Richie line.
Oh wow.
At the end of the date, I go, should we kiss?
Oh my god, that's
That-
so.
somebody
is
said that
iconic.
to me on a date once.
Wow.
I didn't realize that it was a Nicole Richie
Yeah,
line.
Nicole Richie was like, should we
Nicole
kiss?
Richie's influence is so
Yeah.
it was a
We are
guy
so
that said that to
unserious.
me.
Okay, Courtney, you said that you have a box tape of The Simple Life. Is that what you said? You have
Oh,
it
he has it on
DVD?
I'm
DVD.
pretty sure I have like multiple seasons of
So
it on
let's
DVD.
try-
Explain to
about
people what a
that.
DVD is.
Let's
A
chat
DVD.
about why you have that, where you got it, and just generally if you're okay.
Okay, I bought the seasons of The Simple Life on DVD because I am a crazy person and I love reality TV.
Okay.
The Simple Life was one of my favorite reality TV shows, and so I went through this era/phase where every weekend after my job working at the arcade, shout out to Great Wolf Lodge, I would go down to the FYE in the Stroud Mall. Shout out to
Yes,
Stroudsburg.
for your entertainment.
For your entertainment, thank you. And I would just get box sets of like Will and Grace. Like I have Laguna Beach, but like I would always have to go and get one by one, like The Simple Life, because they
my
would never have
God.
like all of them at once. So I would like, all right, did you guys have like season 2 in? Do you have like 3 in? I always got them out of order. I don't know, just a fantastic series. You just get to unfortunately see the decline as the seasons go on because The Simple Life went from like Fox to E, where they focused a lot on, I think, the most ridiculous parts of the show, and it didn't feel balanced.
Once they knew what it was, right? It's hard to recreate. Like
I
the
agree.
magic is undoable.
It sort of
Yeah.
reminds me, season 1 of The Simple Life kind of also reminds me of season 1 of Wife Swap.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Wife
I've never
Swap.
watched Wife Swap before.
So
You would
crazy.
love it. You
Oh
would
wait,
love it.
that's you're a Christian.
Yeah.
I know
She's
her.
not, no,
Yeah,
she's
she
not
got-
a Christian.
Yeah.
And she goes, she thinks she's the queen, and we're the sorry people. Do you know that one? No. There's literally
The kid to the bacon
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
I don't remember.
This mom comes in
Yeah.
and she's trying to make them eat healthy, okay? And they have bacon every morning, and this kid is like,
I do remember
I
them
like
at-
bacon.
yeah.
I like bacon.
Yeah.
Me.
You
and
would
then
love
and then he's
this
like,
show.
she thinks she's like won't budge. She goes,
Yeah.
she thinks she the queen, and we the sorry people. He goes to his little room. He's 6. He packs his bag. He goes,
I do
I
that.
have had it with this.
Period.
I am leaving.
Yeah.
And she watches him like get out.
It's so
I support him.
funny.
And then they did the celebrity wife swap.
Why?
Anyways, I don't
Yeah,
know why
which
that,
was
but like,
amazing.
there's
Yeah.
something so real about it, and it's like it just is. Let's roll the cameras and let's go to town.
Yeah.
I miss reality TV at its core, where it was just abusive to the people.
Not abusive.
Notoriously, I hate reality TV.
Yeah.
Like I cannot watch it now. I have not watched a single Housewives. I
What?
have not watched. I haven't
Yeah,
watched
it's
any
weird.
of it. But the only reality TV show I watch is Survivor. That's it. Full
out
stop.
when you guys-
Courtney's freaking out.
That's
Yeah.
so
But,
wild to
but
me.
back in the day,
Yeah.
like I loved The Simple Life because it was just not as like formulaic. Like you couldn't predict
real.
what was gonna happen. It was
Yeah.
very
You had no
real.
idea
And
where
these
it
were
was
real
going.
people and real personalities. And the intent was to like not get famous. Like people
True.
come into it now like
Well, and
knowing
Paris
that
and
they're gonna
Nicole were
do it.
already
They were
that
already-
girl.
yeah.
Totally.
So
Already
they didn't
rich.
need it, and that's why they were just like able to be themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because meanwhile we're thinking like, oh my God, they're partying, they're doing drugs, like, and then we now hear like our parents were super strict, like we
Yeah.
were like actually never allowed to go. Kathy Hilton was really unhappy that Paris did the show. She
I was just
very
about to
weary.
say,
Yeah.
Jade, Kathy Hilton didn't want Paris to do The Simple Life. ... But as a child, I remember Kathy Hilton having her own reality show.
Really?
Where she was like trying to find someone to be part of the family. Where it was like, I want to be a Hilton.
Oh, I remember that.
And so like finding that out like blew my mind because I was like,
she was just very
no, Miss
strict.
Thing, you were not dumb as hell on that show. Like you are on Real Housewives.
Yeah.
Kathy Hilton plays really
She
stupid.
plays like goofy.
She's on the
Well, what
Housewives.
was-
Oh yeah.
She's on Beverly
other,
Hills. She likes to play
Paris
Duck Duck
Hilton's my new
Goose.
BFF.
Yeah, Paris Hilton. Well, we didn't talk about that.
okay.
Paris Hilton's my new BFF was an
Oh my God.
incredible
Paris
show.
Hilton's My New BFF outside of the circle is the #1 reality show that I know in my heart of hearts that I could have won.
Wow.
This television program was so easy. Just imagine a
How would
bunch.
you have won?
I would have won because I'm a good friend.
No, but like, tell me like why you think you really would have won.
let
Because
me
there's-
break down what it is
Imagine
first.
there's like 10 people just like you.
There's no one
Nobody
like
likes
me.
him.
Well, I
How
mean,
dare you
that's not
talk
what I
about
meant.
him like
Of
that?
course,
There's
you're
no one
one of a
like me,
kind.
baby.
No, but I mean that are just as obsessed with Paris as you are. So how would you stand out?
Okay, so let me explain the premise of the show. Basically, we got a whole bunch of 20-somethings, 30-somethings, all different kinds of character archetypes, and they're all moving into Paris Hilton's doll house
So good.
to be Paris Hilton's best friend. She's going to take you all around the world. She's going to bring you everywhere. You're going to be a Hilton, essentially. In my opinion, I would have won the show because I feel like a lot of the challenges were basically just asking, would you be a good friend in this scenario? And I found a lot of the people on the show outside of my friend Anch, shout out to you, Anch, love you down. A lot of them were self-serving
Yeah.
to me anyway. And I feel like, well, I wouldn't have done that. Well, I wouldn't have done that. And I wouldn't have done
Well,
that.
I remember also seeing that show and being kind of sad because I was like, oh, I guess this is because her and Nicole.
I did think that as well.
That's what I thought. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, I watched it, but I was still just like, I think it's Nicole. I think she's your BFF. Like, you know,
vaguely-
and I always like
Yeah.
wanted them to get
Yeah.
back together. The show had, I mean, we talked about like some of the lines and stuff, but some of these moments from The Simple Life, Nicole literally was trying to pour ashes into an urn, drop them, and then vacuum them up.
Damn right. Damn right.
She just didn't. I don't know if it was because she didn't know what ashes were.
Also, kind of makes sense. Now all the ashes are in the vacuum.
If I was
Take
dead,
the vacuum.
yeah, and if I was
Some
dead,
hairs in it.
if I was dead and Nicole was handling my ashes, I'd love that. I'm gonna put that in my will.
I love those moments.
Not a
like,
wish to be a dust bunny.
Yeah.
Where
Paris,
Nicole's vacuuming me up.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Paris made bacon with an iron.
Like
Like she was like
yes.
ironing bacon, and then she also made like a sandwich. She's like ironing a sandwich, which hey,
You might. That works.
you know, people did it to their hair. You can do it to a sandwich.
You know what? I really like the moment pulling out of the sky. I really like the moment where Paris and Nicole were like trying to like set up someone's wedding. I think it might have been, it was like they were trying to set up someone's wedding. Kesha's mom is like in the episode and they like set her up with this random black guy. Anyway, they like knock over the wedding cake, which is like the bride and the groom's heads. They like knock them over and they just like pick it up. It's like all deformed and like squish it back onto the platform and just like serve it to the guests. It's one of the most strangest episodes, but the fact that Kesha and her mom are in it, shout out to Miss Phoebe, whatever your name is, she was amazing. You can't forget it.
And they're still
also
friends with Kesha. Which is
Really?
cool. Yeah.
There is a moment when they're like putting the cake back on the plate. I do remember Nicole had this like iconic like to it. And I'm like, the physical comedy of that, she is like a modern day clown,
Yeah.
straight up. You cannot choreograph
I mean,
that.
them milking
Very I Love
cows
Lucy.
in
Yeah.
their Von Dutch trucker hats and just like squeezing it, like learning how to milk a cow. I feel like when I saw that episode, it made me want to milk a cow.
You hadn't? I feel like that's kind of the kind of activity you were into.
Yeah, you would think I was milking deers.
That's even more
I mean, I wasn't milking deers, but I'm just saying, like, I was more around
like their
deers
glands. Okay.
than cows.
Sorry, she meant to say she
She
didn't
did say milk
She said
deers.
that she milked deers, but she didn't mean to say that. She
Not a
meant to
deer.
say
I didn't
that
say
she
that.
meant that she was just around deers.
There was a lot of deer in
and
my
she was just confused
backyard.
about the whole milking
Not
piece.
deer
Yeah.
milking.
If you think about it, they are kind of modern day, like I Love Lucy. Like, remember that episode where she's at the
Yes.
chocolate factory? Like, it's that
Yeah.
kind of same
That's a great comparison, Jay.
feeling
Yes.
of like, oh, like, you know,
That's really
And
funny.
I'll say this, Paris's like one-liners popped more because of Nicole rambling on and on and on and whatever she was saying.
and then she would just go, that's hot.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Would that have
Yeah.
She's the
popped?
period.
Would that have popped as hard if Nicole hadn't done a preamble? That's what I'm saying. And I
I
know
think so.
that Courtney's, has his thoughts on that.
No,
There
you
are
know-
two halves of a whole. I just personally connected with Paris's brands and business endeavors
He likes the yin
more
harder.
passionately.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
just
Loving
saying.
it.
I'm just saying.
And then since they've parted, they've also done incredible things. Like I have to say, there was a moment where I think Paris kind of went away for a little bit, and then she
When was
came
that?
back. She had a little moment where she
When she was making music?
she was kind of making music. She was more internationally known than like in America. I feel like she had a little, not a dip, but like she was a little out of the media a little bit. And I feel like she came back strong with that documentary where she finally like talked about her childhood trauma. And then it's become this huge thing where they're now like taking down these kinds of camps and these schools. And I think Kathy Hilton was kind of like, that's what you do. Like when you're a rich person, you just send your kids off. But like she raised awareness for an entire different thing than what she was about originally. So I think she kind of reinvented herself a few years back
Yeah,
in a way.
That is cool. And I remember her saying that that's like the reach. She wanted to like own her own life, make enough money where she never had to be like in control of someone else. Meanwhile, while Paris is doing that, Nicole Richie's getting into acting. And she's doing guest spots on like 6 Feet Under and a lot of different types of shows. So, while Paris was doing that, Nicole was doing something else.
And I don't know if this is my opinion, but I do believe that what we saw fashion wise in like 2012, 2013, which was sort of like boho, Native American sort of.
Not the Gwen Stefani of it all.
I think that was Nicole Richie's influence because she sort of, and I know like Paris was ultimately doing the Y2K fashion, but Nicole was doing her own thing with this like boho.
Like Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah.
So they didn't do
I
it
would say
first?
she
Well,
inspired
but
like
I'm
Vanessa
saying-
Hudgens at Coachella, I would say.
That's
I
what I'm
could
saying.
agree with
Nicole
that,
Richie
yeah.
did inspire this whole. Yes, it was mainly girls at Coachella in 2012.
Who are now in trouble, can't wear.
I'm just saying.
But hey, that's still pretty cool. The impact of that. Okay, I know we're talking about the impact.
Why don't you just jump to House of Harlow? Like, why are we doing? You're like, she invented cultural
she
appropriation
invented
with the
boho
Indian
chic?
rap.
And
No,
you need to come
I didn't say
clean.
cultural appropriation.
I need to come
boho
clean.
chic.
I was at Coachella in 2012.
I
And
love
yes,
that.
and what were you
I was
wearing?
wearing a boho outfit.
Inspired by Nicole Richie.
I was
gonna say,
inspired
with
by
the
Nicole
Nicole
Richie.
Richie. A lot of
It
nails.
was like literally like a
And don't
knit
even
white
come-
vest.
Yes, that was Nicole
That
Richie.
was, like,
don't
too
talk about
long.
the Olsen twins with me. Don't even go there
That-
with me.
they were
those
before
are my
Nicole
women.
Richie.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
They were doing
boho
something
chic.
totally different. No.
Mary Kate and Ashley versus Tia and
Mary
Tamara.
Kate and
Stay
Ashley.
tuned. Clearly, Battle of the Moles.
I will
Like,
die for those twins.
Oh my god.
I love the Olsen twins with every being, with every fiber in my being. Is that wrong?
I literally wish I cared about
Mary Kate and
anything
Ashley
the way you
throwing
care
a
about
fucking party. You better come,
everything.
bitch.
Are you guys joking? This
No,
Mary
I
Kate
love
and
them.
Ashley slander will
I
not
love Mary Kate
stand.
and
No,
Ashley.
there's
They
no
are
slander. I'm
they
just
are
saying
the reason I have a heartbeat.
that boho chic look was kind of already happening in the mid 2000s. I don't think. I think she jumped on the train. I don't think she invented like.
and Jade, that's why I said it was my opinion. Thanks.
Okay, let's
Okay,
turn it to
well,
you.
you're up.
Okay. Did Paris Hilton with her pink fuzzy stuff and Y2K fashion influence you, or did Nicole Richie with a maybe more, we'll call it boho. There was called a lot of names just now, and I wanna bring it back to boho. Okay, did she influence you in that? Who influenced you more? Get in the comments and tell us. Are you Paris? Or are you Nicole?
I also want to say something that like puts Paris ahead of Nicole for me personally. We did briefly mention the music. Paris Hilton has a fun music career. I did not forget that Nicole Richie did try and fail at singing. Shout out to Dandelion. I had the demo via LimeWire. Y'all didn't hear that.
And Dandelion also fits into the boho chic.
She did. She is also a rapper and a very good one. So I'll
She
give
is
her
good.
that. Yeah.
She's candidly Nicole.
I really loved Paris Hilton's music career. I love Stars Are Blind, Nothing
Are
in This
Blind.
World.
What a moment.
I mean, Turn It Up. Her album was absolutely amazing. I love the fact that Paris Hilton is an author. I mentioned the fragrances before, like multiple TV shows, both her being a guest star in and being the face of. And I feel like Nicole Richie has done things. She's
She launched her own
accomplished.
jewelry. She has her own jewelry line.
Love jewels.
Reality TV show on VH1 called Candidly Nicole.
We don't remember
I think
that,
that counts.
No,
unfortunately.
everybody remembers
I
Candidly
remember
Nicole.
that.
I don't
That
remember.
is-
I don't remember how many brands Paris Hilton has now at this point, but I think she has Beauty by Paris. She has a whole kitchen line that sells at Walmart.
She did mention
Following
that.
Martha Stewart's
Yeah, I was gonna say
footsteps.
Martha Stewart number one.
What else does she have? She has clothing line, a new album out. She's number
She
one
actually does
DJ
have
in
an
the
album
entire
out.
world. And when you think of Pink, you think of Paris Hilton. And when I think of Paris Hilton, I think of her rapping with Snoop Dogg in that awkward video.
I have
MTV.
a question for the audience, actually. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to check in. Which do you think is more iconic? Nicole Richie's boho chic influence or Paris Hilton's pink juicy couture sweatsuit? Because when I think of Paris Hilton, I think of a pink juicy couture sweatsuit with juicy on the ass. I don't think of boho chic when I think of Nicole Richie. Although I agree
Yes, you
now.
do.
Now that you've mentioned it, I agree now.
Yeah.
But like I have always thought that Paris Hilton and juicy couture, like the sweatsuit, was always like her thing that I associated her with. Boho chic doesn't even.
I feel like
For me.
I think that makes sense. And I feel like to categorize them in that way is like interesting. But I feel like Paris Hilton was never even like in my news stream. Like you're mentioning all these businesses and all these things. And I'm like, I never even like that she was DJing, that she had like a new fragrance. Like there was too much going on
She
with
has
Paris.
several fragrances.
For me to like really keep up or pay attention. Like it's like, you know, someone that is just like posting constantly and you're like, I don't even know what's good or bad with you because there's just so much. And sorry, was that a direct attack? No, I didn't mean that as a direct attack.
Yikes. I mean, some of us are multifaceted.
But
She said this bitch just be doing
Or
anything.
triple threats.
This is my Nicole point. This is what I'm
So
saying. I just
rude.
feel like I really paid attention to what Nicole did throughout her career because one, I related to her more. They're both queens. We said that. Everyone knows that. But I related to her more. And so when she was like starting to do some acting, I definitely wanted to see where she was at. When she had her jewelry line, when she was voted best fashion line at Teen Vogue in 2010, like they stick out to me.
I think the other thing too, I never had to wonder like, is she being fake? Who really is she? She was always exactly who she said she was. And I know that we were saying, oh, well, Paris had this whole other character. And that, to me, that's a little bit scary.
Or was it
Who
a
are
trauma
you?
response because she
It
been
was a
through some
trauma response.
And
Yeah.
of course,
she
as
even
somebody who
admitted it.
also has a character that I play, I'm not myself, but I wish
You're
that I could be
debating
more.
yourself.
I wish I could be more like Nicole. So I aspire to be more just like totally unfiltered, confident in what I'm saying, and just saying it, even if it's gonna ruffle some feathers. All right, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. I'm telling you what I respond to more, and I'm not saying that. Because it was a trauma response, that's bad. That's great. That's fine. I'm just saying, for me, I'm gonna feel more like at ease around somebody that's just telling me exactly what's going on and exactly what they're feeling. And
I think in that same way, though, Nicole Richie was a little bit
And
like
she had
touch and go. You
trauma
never know.
too.
You never know like what she's gonna say. She was a little bit of a loose cannon in that
And
way.
I love that.
I agree.
And I think that just in the way that Paris Hilton has presented herself, she's just a businesswoman.
I've
like,
always looked
first,
at
you know?
Paris and Nicole as a duo, as Paris always being like the anchor. And then Nicole
base.
is kind of the base.
And then Nicole's the acid.
Paris Hilton is not the voice of reason. They
She's
are
the
both,
base.
No, they are peas in a pod. They are both the wild card. They're both.
You think that?
Yes. Because are you joking? Paris Hilton at the drive-thru being like, "Have a great day, bitch." Like they're both just like wild cards, and that's why we love them.
Yeah.
I do not think one of them is the voice of reason. They're both literally.
I don't know
kooky.
if I don't know if maybe I
now
would.
they're different.
I don't know if I would explicitly
in a pod.
explain Paris as like the voice of reason, but I definitely think that in her delivery, it's more realistic and down to earth. Like if you want things,
Saying
if you
stop
want,
being
if you
poor?
want, if you want to know,
Saying stop being
She
poor.
said stop being poor. It's
Yes.
so funny.
She wore a shirt that says "Stop being poor." That's grounded, down to earth.
girl, talk about the simple life.
Oh, I thought you were just saying that in general.
No,
That's
I
really
feel,
funny.
I feel like when it comes to
Sorry.
Paris
Yeah.
and Nicole, like as a duo on the simple life, I feel like if you want your stuff to be messed up and you want to know that it's going to get messed up, you're going to have Nicole be in the forefront. But if you want more of like comedy and more like little hijinks, then you're going to let Paris kind of like take the lead. You know what I mean? I think things get messed up a lot more when Nicole is in charge.
And
because
that
Paris is more
and
of
that
the-
makes for great TV.
She likes the
I
chaos.
didn't say it was
She's
bad
so
TV.
good.
I'm just reiterating
So
the point that Paris is the anchor. That's all.
You know, not only are they entrepreneurs, TV icons, they're also musicians. At the ripe age of 7, they wrote a song called Sanasa. It is so enjoyable. Like just, it's that feeling of being with your best friend or your sister or like someone you're really close to.
Did
Like,
you guys write songs when you were little kids?
oh yeah, we
Me
did like
too.
I
plays
did
and
not.
like,
Really?
I'm just being honest. Hell no. I was watching TV.
Oh, I was performing plays. Like people had to come in, like the neighbors would come in. We had plays, we had dances.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I just am so surprised that Sanasa like took off in the way it did and how proud they are of it because like, sorry, no shade. It's literally like not that good.
It's
It's
three
like,
words to the process is right.
like I have nieces and nephews. They're doing crazy shit all the time. Like I'm like, yeah, it's good. But
is
for
catchy,
them,
but
for
yeah.
them to be like, this is the greatest thing.
That's
like
the
Lionel
joke.
Richie like wanted to buy it and they didn't.
Yeah.
And that their new show is about making an opera
It's
about
so
Sanasa.
funny.
To me is like on it. It's like Andy Kaufman style comedy.
agree.
Because
It
I'm like,
is.
because
It's
I'm like,
next level.
sorry, we've all heard the song. It's nothing.
But that's the joke. That's the
next
entire
level.
joke of it.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
did
that's
enjoy
it.
it watching the original run of The Simple Life. I thought it was actually a very important part of the show. So even though I disagree with them turning it into an opera, I did understand exactly
The
why
joke.
that was the premise because it gives the girls a vehicle to sort of like go back and relive the moments of the original Simple Life, which we all know and love.
I think it's
yeah.
like it also is such a beautiful testament to like that inner child that was just sort of because when they wrote that and they were like little kids, they had no shame, no judgment. They were just doing that. So that's why I actually think it's gonna be pretty powerful to
It's
see
really
this
fun
turn
watching
into
it.
something else. As
Yeah.
somebody who is like obsessed with like my child self, I think that's the key to happiness is to letting that inner child's voice be heard. And so that's what Sanasa is to me.
I want to make fun of you, but that's really sweet. And it's very real.
It was
It's very
true.
real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It is, but that's what
interesting.
you kind of get to see with them. It's like that raw chemistry of just like, we're just kids and we have like a really similar upbringing. And like, you know, they're actually pretty normal for someone who had such a weird childhood.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
honestly surprised they both like wanted to do this because I feel like they're in such like interesting, cool places in their life. Like they both have kids.
Families.
Nicole is married to Joe Madden and like is obviously been doing more like I don't know a lot of different stuff,
Lifestyle
like fashion,
stuff, yeah.
lifestyle.
And
But
Paris
so I'm like
Hilton is there.
surprised Nicole like wanted to.
What
do
I do
it.
like about the encore and the whole inclusion of Sanasa is the fact that I think it kind of like reminds us as the audience like how much they've changed. Like they do have families now. Like Paris has like a husband. Like she's married. Like what? Interesting. I don't know if another show like The Simple Life could be made with the same amount of impact, but I do appreciate what both have brought to the table because I don't think I would be the same person without it. Not to sound dramatic, but honestly, I just wouldn't.
Totally.
Well, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was, the 2000s were obviously, we talk about this a lot, such a toxic time, especially for women and especially for women that were friends. Like, I feel like, and even that's just like what the media love to do is like, oh, here's this like beautiful friendship. Let's actually create drama and like break them up.
For clicks.
And for clicks. And also the way that the paparazzi was really kind of like ruining their lives as well. That's
that they talk
kind
about
of
that in
crazy.
Encore. That's like kind
Yeah.
of
It's
the
like kind of crazy.
yeah, it's all of them like being cute, and then the media comes in, it's like, oh, it's like that's who the devil is in their opera.
Yeah.
now. Like that's who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
the-
Nicole
Yeah.
got into a car accident because a paparazzi literally hit her car.
Yeah.
She was hospitalized for it. I'm
That's
like,
wild.
sorry, Princess Diana,
Princess
right
Di.
here.
So
Like, I'm like, this is
scary.
crazy.
and it was a bad time to be a woman then, but it was also like kind of a magical time to be a rich teenager.
Yeah,
because you
that's
could just
true.
go to the
I
club.
know.
Like
Yeah.
it was kind of uncensored. Like you didn't have to be like cell phones in the bag. You know, it was like there was nothing being
There was no
recorded.
social media. Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, it was cool to have the magazines because we got a little bit of a glimpse. Like I was an yearbook editor at Dork, and I would just like scan the magazines just for the photo, just to see what they were up to. And I was like, one day I'll get to live in LA and like go to Club Hyde, which I did do.
I'm
and how was it?
It was
Yeah.
cool. I saw Britney Spears there. It was
You
crazy.
did?
Yeah, it was
When?
crazy.
Crazy.
2009.
Wow.
Damn.
2009.
I want to go on record and say that Paris Hilton is the most iconic when it comes to her and Nicole Richie. I just think that like when it comes to like her businesses, The Simple Life being something that she shared with Nicole, awesome. Her fragrances, her books, her TV shows, her baby, her man, her best friend, her mom is iconic. I just feel like love Lionel Richie. Shout out to ya. But the Richie family just doesn't hold a candle nor the candlestick to the Hiltons, Paris or any of them. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and if you need a candlestick, they are available at Walmart in pink through the Paris Hilton collection.
Period.
Paris is the it girl, was the it girl, continues to be the it girl. She reinvents herself, goes after what she wants. She's branded herself in a way that's like, if there was, she has a wax figure. Let's just say that. Nicole doesn't. She's just,
Whack her ass
she's
again.
who you want to be. She's 43 and has reinvented herself over and over again. She's made herself vulnerable in a place where it's not really like cool to be vulnerable. She's just incredible, and I want to be just like her, and I want to be friends with her. Hi, Paris, if you're watching.
The Lionel Richie slander was not really appropriate.
PBI.
He has a lot of bangers.
Unfortunately, I couldn't name one, and I'm being dead
All
ass
night
serious.
long? All night
Ballerina
long?
girl?
Please ask me if I care.
Okay, sorry. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Monica and I are famously music heads. So
Famously.
Of course, we're going for, Nicole Richie was adopted by one of the greatest songwriters and singers of our time,
Taylor
Lionel
Swift?
Richie.
That's crazy.
I'll give you that. I think he's important.
Yeah, he's important.
He's really important.
I'm gonna
And
shout out now.
he's a judge on American Idol, and he's the Paula Abdul of American Idol.
And he's got a big head.
So
The
he-
nicest one. Nicole Richie has always been the firecracker, the girl that we want to be because she just says it like it is. She's a short little girl. She's short. How tall is she?
Yeah.
In the fives.
Comment.
She seems
comment.
shorter. Obviously, she's shorter than Paris, but that never held her back from being just as big of a personality as Paris. And I think the cards are stacked against her a little bit. Again, another situation where we get the underdog.
We are,
And yet, here we are.
We're constantly fighting for the underdog. And you know what? Because we relate to them. I think incredible points were made just now by Alyssa Sabo, my partner in crime and also best friend. And I think this was personal for us because we're best friends and we know that it's hard to get into any type of situation.
Which one is the
We're
Paris?
both Nicole
Which one is
Richie.
the Nicole
We're both
Richie?
Nicole
It
Richie.
can't. You have to, one of you has to be Paris right
We're
now.
both
Who
Nicole
is
Both
it?
Nicole Richie.
Guys, not in this game.
We're both Nicole Richie.
Famously, both Nicole Richie. Okay.
Okay, fine.
The other points I would like to make is that Nicole was always herself. Very much herself. She was very good at keeping it real, and audiences really related to that. Yes, they were a duo. They really worked together, but I feel like Nicole had a lot of setups. I do feel like comedically so strong. Physicality so strong.
You're
And
just
that's
talking about the simple life.
Nicole
though.
really smart
Richie-
premises. No, I'm saying in general, Nicole, her whole life has had a more authentic vibe to her versus Paris that was a little bit more curated as a brand. And I'm just saying,
And
as the underdog, we relate to that, and that's why
I'm
Nicole
gonna
Richie
take
should win this, but-
I'm gonna take a wild swing here and say Vince Vaughn probably based a lot of his fast talking on Nicole Richie. I think Vince Vaughn is a fast
Let me
talker.
shut the hell up.
And I think that he might have watched a couple episodes of The Simple Life, and because Nicole Richie talks really fast. Okay, she does. And I don't know. I'm just saying, that's again
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn still acting?
Fast talking comedic.
What a strange looking man Vince
Listen,
Vaughn
yeah, we
is.
got a little
hot.
tired because we drank some Diet Coke earlier. and
Vince
Vince Vaughn is
okay,
attractive.
And I want to
He
hear
was
from you guys in the
attractive once.
comments. Courtney Revolution is saying Vince Vaughn isn't hot. Vince Vaughn is one of the hottest actors of our time. Also, Vince Vaughn, look up Vince Vaughn 90s.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn
Yeah.
had a moment in the 90s.
Very good looking. But also Vince Vaughn in Dodgeball, he's saving a fitness club.
Okay, I'm going to cut
I
you
am
off.
so gay and black.
Yeah,
Like, ew.
Famously, a lot of bi people like Vince Vaughn.
That's
Really?
weird.
Yeah, go on Reddit.
Okay,
We
guys.
can have our tangents.
Yeah, we had a tangent. This was an
Vince
incredible
Vaughn.
episode. It touched our hearts, our pink little hearts. At home, what do you guys think? Ultimately, are you a Nicole? Are you a Paris? Do you think Nicole is loose and fun? Do you think Paris is too calculated? Let us know, because even though we're battling it out, it's really up to you who the winner is. And on that note, we had an incredible episode just before this. It was Pepsi versus Coke. If you want to watch that, that's right here. Check it out. And with that, I'm Jade Catapretta.
I'm Courtney Revolution.
I'm Monica Lumba.
And I'm Alyssa Sabo.
We'll see you next time on Rivals.